All right.
We are live.
Playfect. Well, in that case, welcome to Voices in the Wilderness, a 13th Age adventure. When we last left our heroes, they finally, fought in this combat game for the first time in a while. Saving a ship of elven sky pilgrims from what looked like a fire cult. Including, well, who wants to catch us up on what happened last?
We saved most of the people,
Yeah,
which
some
is
of them
better
got
than
set
not
on
any
fire.
of the people.
We also ended up recreating the splash art.
Carnifex would have finally gotten his wish because people died in a fire.
Many people died in a fire.
Not like this. A single demonic tear rolls down. I wanted it to be my friends. All right. So when you get kind of dusted off, you are on. You are on this larger ship. People have been tidying up, pulling the bodies about, surveying the damage. Right now, it's actually fairly late, as it was kind of near sunset when the battle began, and now you're pretty much pulled back up over the edge, so to speak, as kind of you see some elves undoing the little grappling hooks, and that the kind of raiding ships put kind of grabbed on with. Looking at where it looks like there has been both fire damage and some weapon damage, and they're starting to light little magical torches around. What do you do?
Hail, we've come here to save you. Do people say hail on airships? Kind of leans over to the rest of the group.
Hi usually works.
Ahoy.
Yar?
Well, no, those are the people that we killed.
Oh, right. Not Yar. Hello. Is there a leader we should talk to? We're not usually great at the we're more not the skyfaring help.
No, keep going. I want to see how this
Listen,
ends.
how do you handle the situation? You're good with airships.
We could have avoided all this awkwardness if we'd have just left everything.
We weren't gonna leave them to die.
We
Maybe
didn't know
you
they
were,
were
but
going
we
to die.
weren't.
I suppose Malkesh would have been upset.
Well, he's more concerned about what's on the inside, not the outside.
You're approached by a elven woman, a dark elf actually. This whole crew is actually pretty much all varied of the three branches of the Elven Kingdom. And she approaches, and she actually just has dark black hair, kind of pulled back in a ponytail, just loose clothing made for kind of the wear and tear of ship life, and has with her just like a series of what look like somebody who's ready to do some kind of navigating or cartography on the fly. And she approaches Gunhild, who's talking. It's like, well, leader is kind of a hard thing. The captain was one of the first people taken out before you bunch showed up, which once again, thank you very much. We would have been very, very dead if it wasn't for you. We're not exactly prepared for combat like that.
Oh,
Where were
glad
you
to do we
headed?
can.
We're a surveying vessel. It's usually not this far out. We go, especially in this sort of area, which isn't really protected by either Imperial force or by Elven patrols, but well, we feel our work is more important. My name is Kir Harad. I'm a planner cartographer.
What were you searching for out here?
Essentially weak points in, well, the planner structure. The Elven Kingdom's to the skies, and many of us, like my people who live on city ships, are generally fairly protected from demonic incursion, but our surveying ships do watch by for places they can make rips, tears, send aerial forces through. And, well, we've been very, very busy in the past few months.
Seems like an interesting trade.
Is it normally so dangerous?
Like I said, not entirely. Usually it's just surveying within our own secured territory. And even then, even in no-man territory like this, there's enough elven pirate vessels that nobody really wants to start something up with us. They know the work we do is good, and we generally pay for the protection. And that's enough to keep the riffraff away. But this is a much more focused attack. This is not something we're used to at all. And
No, these seemed like zealots, not riffraff.
So I believe between just going a little farther out than we should have and wrong place, wrong time, we may have... Well, once again, wrong place, wrong time, but thankfully you were in the right place at the right time to give us assistance.
Is this sort of en route to where we were headed?
You know that where you're headed is still a bit away yet. So while en route, it's pretty much in the area you would expect. Like, this is right when you crossed pretty much from Imperial territory into kind of No Man's Sky. Available on PlayStation 4.
Well, my concern was that if these guys are normally have gone outside of their territory, and by going into this territory they ran into those guys, the cultists. I'm just wondering whether or not we're going to be following a trail of cultists all the way back to where we're supposed to be going.
That is... Who are you having this conversation with?
Oh, sorry. Myself, it would seem. Sorry,
This is
I
just
was
off in the
talking
corner
out
mumbling
loud to
to
the
herself.
group.
What was that, Ferris?
It's like Lisy's just off in the corner mumbling to herself.
Gotta walk over, give her a poke, reset her. Lisi, are you alright?
Yes, I'm just
Check
wondering.
the back panel, do some tinkering.
I'm just wondering
Let's
if
see
this
his
is the beginning
Ah,
of the.
sorry.
Is Kellen okay?
Yeah, I just dropped something. It's fine.
I'm just wondering if this is the start of something. Because those guys weren't a lot of fun to go up against.
I mean, Ferris will kind of pipe up and be like, well, I recognize those banners. Do they fly these skies often?
Being honest, as said, it's generally we don't have to worry too much about being attacked like this. Nobody wants to bring on the wrath of, well, the entire Elven Kingdom by assaulting one of the official ships.
Have there been other reports of such assaults?
As said, I mean, this area is always a little worrisome. We knew it would be trouble, but we did have to investigate what we needed to investigate. Otherwise, well, if there was the potential for a rift right on the edge of our territory, then that's as dangerous as a rift just inside of our territory. I don't know.
A rift, you say? Funny you should mention that.
Yes,
We
no.
ourselves are looking for. Right?
No,
I-
we're looking
have
for
I
a
got
dragon
that?
graveyard.
Oh right, okay. Well, I just reckoned that it was an opportunity.
I mean, we are good at closing rifts.
Well, hope.
I guess kind of on that note, have you seen evidence of a rift threatening to open near your territory?
In general, just we've been updating the planner maps of this region of the sky to, well, with newly formed weak points, and there seems to be more and more appearing over the past few months.
Can I take a look at that map?
If it will help, and she'll dry you all under deck and bring you into kind of a map making room. And this is kind of what shows what this ship is, that this isn't just like one person's office. This is a room designed for multiple people to work on these maps and cross collaborate and run calculations of different sorts. And Kirharad will take out the largest one they're working on.
And this is about as up to date as you can find.
Well, this is the one we're working on right now, and you kind of see where the existing, where it's almost as if she's working on an overlay on an older map, and you can see that there's fewer points where, just imagine like it's a topographical map style, but rather than showing elevation, it kind of shows, thin points in the kind of meta-magical barrier between planes. Nothing that could rip rip a hole in the sky, that's for sure, but more and possible points to kind of deal with, well, flying demons or just, well, that kind of nastiness that they might send out on us. For hundreds of years, the elven people have been very vigilant about this. As said, we enjoy protection from not having to deal with established open rifts like some of the islands or even the continent of Mome have to deal with, but complacency leads to destruction.
Do the elves have teams that go in and help shore up some of these weaknesses?
Well, there's only so much we can do about it until something actually opens. We can be prepared, we can watch it, that's in part our job. But until a breach actually occurs, there's... Well, it's a lot of commitment of resources, and there's only more of these thin spots occurring.
And what Ferris is going to do, this is probably going to require a background check, but what he's going to do is just kind of run his finger over the map and just kind of see if he can trace out a pattern and determine if this is kind of like Guildhome, where this is a like a precursor to like they said, a hole ripping open in the sky.
Yeah, give us a background check.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, I think my audio is working again. Sorry about that.
Also, hello.
I'll remute myself.
Yeah, you can pretty much see the pattern fairly easily with this. It's where kind of they have sent these defenses and places to shore up. That part of space-time has grown stronger, where the elves are not has grown weaker, which lines up pretty well with an enemy that can run the numbers and best guess where people will not be.
So yeah, Ferris will kind of draw Kier's attention to those areas that, you know, clearly have very little defense but are also showing weaker bonds. This has everything that seems like a demonic trap. They're luring you one way to strike you from here.
Well, I mean, they have to come through or it's weak, right? They can't control that, can they?
I mean, we're dealing with an enemy that has, for all intents and purposes, knows exactly how we're going to act in the future. They might be able to account for that.
But even to be able to move around and adjust like that, they would need a huge upswell in power or preparation to actually go through in large scale. That's not what any of our best analysts and tacticians expect. The easier places to go are the existing rifts already on the continent.
If the demonic threat takes the sky, they win. It makes sense that they would eventually move their eyes here.
Hmm. If that's the case, then you bunch aren't just travelers, are you?
We're adventurers? What is our description?
Heroes!
Traveling heroes?
I like being a hero.
We try our best.
You certainly are a varied group.
Oh, and sorry about the hole in the ship. We know a guy who can fix that.
Hmm. That is the thing. We're gonna. If what you say is true, we're going to have to cut the rest of our journey short and report back as soon as possible.
I'm not so familiar with this guy. Is that nearby?
It is a. It's not a short journey, and definitely not a shorter journey on a captainless damaged ship.
Well, we sort of have a captain in a sort of not damaged ship.
This seems important enough that we can maybe take a short detour if everybody else is on board.
It's so you know you remember that this wouldn't be a short detour. This would
Right.
essentially be going to the Elven capital.
Okay, never mind. Maybe not a short detour.
Well, how about we escort you back into Elven territory? That way you're under the protection once more. That wouldn't be such a long journey, would it?
I like
No.
that idea.
Not from here. It probably, and we already have some people working on disassembling one of these boarding ships just to repair some of some of the damage they've done between
If he perks up.
the fire, and they did disable part of our engines in the initial volleys.
So which way are those people?
Which way are what people?
The people fixing things. Because I can fix things too.
Ferris will try and take Lisi aside. I want to emphasize these people are not fighters. Do not try to give them guns or
Well,
weapons
Can I make it faster? Because I could probably
With-
make it faster.
within reason.
Oh.
All right. You see mostly them working on this ship up here, and they're kind of. You see some. They've kind of fastened it up so it wouldn't. Could you see two working on kind of taking the engine out?
Okay.
How do you want to help them?
I think just by getting them up and going again. I mean, and possibly, well, I guess it depends on how well I do a tinkerer roll. Getting them up and going again is probably that would be the ultimate goal. But if you know what Lisy's like, she'll mess with it in some way. So if it's actually better than that, then maybe she can make the engines go a bit faster.
All right.
Paint them
Yeah.
red.
Let's get a let's get a tinkerer roll.
Red things go faster. Any particular
This would be
attribute?
intelligence. You're tinkering around.
That you rolled a
Oh,
1,
well,
got a
for fuck's
19.
sake.
Wow.
I'm glad I
just
set
wanna
a
emphasize
base.
that.
All right.
Paint the engines blue by accident.
What?
It causes them to go slower.
I painted mean faces on them and everything.
Like, being honest, they're without like a full crew to properly strip one ship. It's going to be difficult to do this. Also, while the ship has to keep flying. But
Maybe I'm just off my game.
But you do have an idea that you could probably link 3 engines together.
As a kind
you
of,
could get
like,
them.
Floating raft.
Not just a floating raft, but if you want to make this faster and on top of making up for all the damage, you'll have to strip both of the boarding crafts. And this is something that you've noticed in a way that there's like these 2 boarding crafts haven't been perfectly maintained, but between the 2 ships you could probably get everything you need.
Okay. She's still gonna feel a little bit miffed that she's sort of flubbed it a little bit. Maybe she's getting sober.
Ferris, meanwhile, is using his mending cantrip to try and help repair the holes and the burns. So when he summons his woggles this time, just due to the gauntlet change, instead of the woggles look oddly a lot like Ochre and Mort.
Ah, chibi boys. Yeah, so this is mostly patchwork, but so here's the choice you have with rolling a 1 on that. You can strip one of the ships, and it's going to take you a little bit of time. Like, this is not a ship that was designed to go terribly fast in the first place. So your escort detour, you're going to be going slower to keep up with it. Or you can strip both ships, and this actually will cut some time off the detour.
As much as it pains me, I think I probably am going to vote for stripping both ships, just to save time.
Hunhow will help strip the ships.
Though speaking of the boarding ships, is there anything interesting about, like, basically Ferris will try and loot through what would be, I guess, the captain's quarters on those, and see if he can figure out where these people hailed from or who they're serving.
There's not a lot. These look like ships that these are essentially ships with a purpose, like to go in, take people, chain them up below deck, and then take them back. But that means they either have to be operating out of a larger ship nearby, or the base of operations has to be nearby.
Both are not good. Sorry, out of character.
Ferris will kind of move over to Gear. In your maps, did you notice any islands out this way?
As I said, we're planner cartographers, not. We do a little bit on mapping the sky, but that's nowhere near our areas of specialty. We just take what maps we have established and build the meta-magical mesh on top of it. There's numerous of small islands nearby here. But nothing large enough to, be worth settling or starting a dispute with the Empire over. All right. If if that's everything everybody wants to talk about or anything that they want to contribute, we can start moving along.
Yeah, I can't think of anything.
Yeah, Gunhill's just gonna help with repairs since she feels at least partially obligated for the large hole that she slammed someone through.
Absolutely nobody seems to bear you any ill will. Everybody is extraordinarily grateful. Some are a little sad of people they lost, but they know that the alternative was much worse. So, you begin your journey to kind of the border of Elven space. The pilgrim ship is actually working very efficiently. It's able to keep pace with the Skyfish quite well, and the Skyfish is designed for speed. You only have to slow down a little bit, considering the work done on the engine. While you are making this journey, it's going to be a journey of a few days. What's a problem you all encounter?
We didn't pack enough food.
What? Oh. Really?
Yeah. I guess we packed a lot of medical stuff, but I guess not enough food.
Not enough to account for the detour.
Yeah.
Someone gets dysentery.
An ox breaks its leg.
Hunhow hasn't had enough citrus. He gets dysentery. Or
Hunhow
no,
gets that,
scurvy.
Sky scurvy.
I was gonna say, whatever that medication is for people who have a hard time on boats, like we just didn't pack any of that.
Dramamine.
That's it.
Oh, we need more fantasy Dramamine.
Fantasy Dramamine.
We did not plan this journey well.
All right, Ferris has noted the fact that you are going off course, so supplies are going to be tight. Alyssia, Gunhild, Hunhow, who wants to take point on solving that issue?
Can we all say, and I love you all, just in case, that Alyssia is not the answer to your food shortage problem? Can we just establish that now?
I mean, of course not. You can only feed like one of us.
That's like half serving at best.
Yeah, you're like a Cornish game hen.
I'm glad that the biggest argument against eating Lisi is the serving size. Thank you very much. Not the fact that she's, aware or anything. It is the fact that she is small.
Looks very sinewy. Not a good meal.
Yeah, I'm not sure what all the alcohol and drugs would do to that meat. I think it would taste a little off.
Gunhill just like slapped Lissy on the back way too hard. It's like, we're just joking.
I don't even like pickles.
I hate you all. Where's Carnifex?
Well, our opportunity for dying in a fire was yesterday, so, sorry, but we're kind of past that now.
Are any of these little islands or anything, do they have food?
We're on montage mode. You just tell me and describe what you're doing.
Or we could go fishing.
In the
Sky
sky.
fishing.
Do you want me to go fishing? Because technically,
Can we
I
just?
actually like this
Alright.
idea.
I want to like make a rope and just like hang Lissy off the edge of the rope as she like grabs passing things in the sky.
The other game did encounter an orc spearfishing vessel, so this is an opportunity.
We're gonna lower
no,
Lissy
we
into
become
the
the
cloud
pirates.
cover.
No, no.
Does anybody
I
else think
mean,
it's
my
weird
vote,
for
my
allowing
vote is for
Lissy to
lowering
catch
Lissy.
flying things?
No,
Like,
no,
because
no.
you're making Lissy catch birds, is
He-
what you're telling me.
What we need to do
Skyfish.
is indulge in the old-fashioned elven fly fishing.
Oh no.
All
All
right,
right.
explain
Hunt,
old-fashioned.
I'd like to hear this.
this sounds like this is Hunhow's
It's
point.
It's well, you don't fish like you would in a river, right? You can't just dangle it over the edge of the ship and wait for something to catch on. It's just gonna look like something dead floating in the air. Anything that you would want to catch, any bird or skyfish, they're gonna see that, and they're just gonna be like, that's bait. So you have to fly fish. You gotta master getting the rod out there, bringing it back in slowly to draw them in. It's an old art, but we need an elven fly fishing rod, and I didn't bring mine. I wonder if some of the elven refugees might have theirs.
You know what? One of the, you know what? Let's just say it. Let's say it's Kier, since she's the named one. She is a hobbyist fisher.
Well, Kier, I'm afraid that we might have a slight problem with rations. Would you mind if I borrowed your rod? Just to get some things to tide us over until we're back on our way.
It's not easy to use. I mean, I barely catch anything when I use it. So, but if this is the situation we're in, I guess I can't doubt you guys.
That's all right. I'll show you how it's done. And I guess this is gonna be background check time.
No, you can just show her how it's done. How successful is Hunhow?
I imagine that since Hunhow's probably been doing this a while, he can probably catch some fish, some skyfish, some flying fish.
It's Kier is very impressed, and she looks and you have a talent for this. This is considered a bit of a lost art, and I thought your mode of dress is a bit traditional, let's say, but
Well, I am.
She has a hankering for Dad Elf.
God damn it, Vic. Well, I am a bit of a traditionalist wood elf. Hunhow kind of thinks about that for a moment and then just nods.
well, you'll have to give me a few pointers for this, because this is well, as I said, I don't I haven't had much success with it. I've been trying to learn, but not a lot.
Well, if you come up here, right to the edge, I can show you. It's all in the wrist. If you give it the right flick when you cast your line, see, and then bring it in,
Is it the perfect cast?
it is the perfect cast. We're 100% goofy movieing this shit.
All right,
Oh my god, you
That's
guys.
Brilliant.
you teach Kier Harad the perfect cast, and with that, she is able to kind of take some turns doing it, solving at least some of the food issues. You're getting very close to the border now, Hunhow. What's another thing you encounter?
Maybe we have a close call with a bigger fish. During the lazy, relaxing days of elven fly fishing, we end up accidentally reeling in a catch, and something bigger decides it wants our catch more.
All right. What does this bigger fish look like, and what threat does it pose to the two vessels?
Can I shoot it with a cannon?
I imagine it'd be like a rock. Not a rock as in the like earth rock. I'm talking
Like Dwayne Johnson?
not Dwayne Johnson. Yeah, no, Dwayne Johnson comes out of the sky and drops the people's elbow on the fish as I'm pulling it back. No,
What if it's
And
just
steals it.
Dwayne?
Dwayne.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Alright, guys, get ready for a Moana encounter.
Oh god. No.
Alright, it looks like a hunk
Giant-
of earth.
No, giant bird. Those
Yeah,
giant
ROC.
birds. Yeah,
R-
giant birds of
yes.
legend. Think enormous hawk just descending from the clouds upon our catch. And obviously, giant bird is a threat to a lot of things. Birds are scary and unpredictable.
Alright, Lisi or Gunhill?
I'm sorry, hang on, wait.
I was waiting for that to sink in.
I feel like that just like went right under the radar.
Alright, Lisi or Gunhild, how do you deal with the swooping rock?
Pick up Lisi and
Yeah, just launch Lissy, a very tiny bird, at a very big bird.
Well,
the
she can
Gunhill
talk
just
some
like
sense into
initially
it.
picks up Lisi and just like speak bird at it.
Racist! I swear to God. I will blame your country background for that.
Well, come on, you said all of us look the same. Was that Malcolm? It's hard to tell.
Lissy just throws alcohol at it because that's the only form of communication she understands.
Gunhill just gets ready to basically just haymaker it if it gets too close.
Alright, which one of these two solutions, which one are you going to take point on?
Dan, we just cut the line.
Yeah, I imagine at this point it's got a hold of whatever fish was on the line in Hun House, trying desperately to just not get pulled overboard.
No, cut the line! Cut the... Actually, Gunhild has a hammer. This is not working out as well as I was hoping it would.
Gunhill just hears cut the line, just like looks from Lissy to the hammer back to Lissy. It's like, with what?
Why does nobody on this ship have a knife?
I like the idea of Gunhill just slamming her hammer into the line, which then catapults the rock like into the mast.
It's
Throwing
pulled,
it.
Rube
Paris is made of knives.
it's pulled so taut that Gunhill's just hammering it. It's just twang, 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 twang.
There are feathers everywhere! Everywhere!
Can't you use your beak or something? Wait, Ferris has knives?
Ferris is made of knives!
Ferris is napping.
Ferris is not napping! Ferris had better not be napping.
Kier, please tell me you have a knife. Like, I can't take a hand off this.
She cuts the line.
Oh, thank you. Hunhow falls backwards onto the deck of the ship and just sprawls out. I'm going to take a nap now.
Alright, Lissy, by cutting the line, what was lost?
Well, obviously the fish. I'm gonna say that possibly more than just it might have taken a basket of supplies or something in the ricochet in the chaos that followed.
Yeah, it swoops down and kind of just grabs one of the barrels in its big old talons. And it's not going to put you back in the food situation you were in that you solved.
Thinking something different. I was thinking it's probably, oh no.
Oh
they're
yeah,
wrong. Oh no, the alcohol!
All right,
God.
It took all the alcohol!
Lisi, you're now on 2 dry ships.
I'm devastated! I'm so... She's inconsolable.
It's been a few days, and you actually get to what's considered kind of border territory. And this is where Kier tells you that they'll be more than good to head on from here, though. She says, "Trust me, I know who's watching this area, and will give us more than enough protection. Thank you so much for your assistance. You've done a great service to the Elven Kingdom."
You're very welcome, and remember, it's all in the wrist.
I
Glad
will
to be
remember.
service.
Lissy,
Yes.
as you get, what issue does the crew encounter as they try to navigate back on path?
The crew for our ship, or the crew for their ship?
The crew for your ship. This is...
I am now sober.
That is a
means-
problem for our
Yeah,
ship.
it isn't.
It's like we have difficulty navigating because our one captain can't keep herself liquored up.
I'm now sober. Out of all 3, there should have been some sort of. I know I've got a. It's. What is it when you have a prediction? There should have been some sort of omen or something about 3 Orkbees that suddenly become sober. When the 3rd Orkbee turns sober, this will happen.
It's like that old song, "What do you do with a sober Rockby?"
What do you do? Oh no!
Well, speaking of that, Gunhild, what do you do with a sober Ockbee?
Well, we need Lissy to actually make the ship not fall, however this works with sky ships. Basically go in the general direction that we want it to, so...
See, Oker's doing a pretty good job. I just kind of figure that Lissy just won't leave shit alone. She probably does mess with Gunhild's hammer. Which
Gunhild
sounds
is
more
probably just gonna
euphemistic
be-
than I wanted.
She's probably just going to be preoccupied with, like, trying to keep Lissy from just, like, tinkering with everything in her sober stupor.
So, Lissy's just taking very tiny Lissy-type steps all around the ship, and Gunhild's just like a very big shadow, blue shadow, that is taking little tiny steps just to follow and see what she does.
Like, Lissy's just, like, flying around near the top of, like, one of the, I'm so bad with ship terms. But she's flying around somewhere on the ship, and, like, Gunhild's just, like, trying to restrain her and failing miserably. Because Lissy's just too fast and just out of reach. You're supposed to only be able to do this daily, what's up?
Only in combat.
All right. Gunhild, with both kind of Gunhild and Alyssia preoccupied, what issue does this cause the ship?
It kind of leaves Hunhao, Ferris, Melkesh. But Melkesh isn't here, so that's the problem.
Malkesh is okay. Malkesh is sleeping it off. Lissy decides that she can fix how well it flies.
What do you mean fix how well it flies?
That phrasing's not ominous at all.
That's horrifying.
Lizzie,
You have
What?
to say the full name for it to have real effect.
Why does she still stop her? She keeps using different attributes.
it's a lot of rolls. I don't know what to do here.
So the first one, she's using all of her knowledge that she can't access because she's not drunk. The second one, she just kind of tries to wing it. And the third one, I guess, is just her like headbutting the problem.
There are
Percussive
now small
maintenance.
bits of shit all around the deck.
Okay, more general then. With all of this going on, now that you're back in this kind of neutral territory, you're maybe a few days into that journey. What? Like, this is a strange part of the sky. What do you see? What new is there? And you get a very, very good look at it, because at one point, Lisi just kind of shuts down the ship.
Whee!
I went to check on medical for 5 seconds.
Why have we stopped
Nightfall
moving?
is exhilarating.
Gunhill's gonna like she looks out the port window, like sees something unusual, like rubs her eyes, like does anybody else see a flying bone skeleton, or is that just a weird cloud? I'm just going all out here, so
All right. What is it the skeleton of?
I want to say it's a kind of like another whale, kind of like the one we used.
Oh,
And swinging back around the circle, Ferris, what do you do or not do about the bone skeleton, and what can you tell us about it?
Well, as we swing back around, we realize that by reanimating the bones of the, I can't remember what they call it, sky whale,
It's an Arwal.
Arwal. It turns out our ship has been leaking magic for a while, and so it turns out that we have inadvertently resurrected about an entire pod of Arwals. And at first, all hands are on deck, getting ready to open fire. But then, as we kind of speed up, we get far enough away that this bone skeletons actually just kind of fall apart. And then that problem just kind of solves itself.
So,
Basically,
Shit,
we
we
need
need
Malcash
to-
to patch up.
Okay, a lot of people talk.
necromantic magic.
Just Ferris.
Okay, so yeah, we basically get Malcash, who's not here right now, to patch up the leak in his magic.
Oh, right. So you've made a little bit of a detour, but the journey was eventful, but without anything really, any real major harm coming about it. And you go deeper and deeper into this uncharted territory, until you start to see, well, what Kirharad was talking about, that the more you go in, the more dense these little islands, and they are, some of them are small and have a little greenery on them, but some of them are just rocks in the sky, jutting up through, the rolling cloud cover, and there's really no more kind of leisurely just kind of keeping the ship straight and flying it in. Now there's actually has to have some navigation going on. As well as kind of people have to spot. So it's late at night. Who's piloting the ship, and what two people are on well, lookout duty. Watch out duty, Jesus. Watch out!
Look out!
And this can include NPCs if you want.
I think Ochre is probably flying the ship. I'm gonna take a back seat and go to sleep so Gunhild can get some rest.
So Ferris is more of a night owl, so he'll be on lookout.
Hunhow would probably be sleeping, having taken watch during the day.
Ferris is also eagerly waiting for Ochre to give up so that he can take a hand at the wheel, but not openly pestering about it.
Oh, sorry, Tyler.
No, I'm fine with Ochre piloting. Like, I think Ferris really wants to take a crack at it, but he's not. He doesn't want people to think that he's too eager to do it.
Arthur and Ambois have kind of permanently volunteered for watch since they're just able to keep going.
They don't really sleep.
And Gunhild, are you taking watch or are you taking sleep?
She'd probably, well, I feel like it would be a mix of both with Lissy's current situation, but she'd probably just keep an eye on Lissy until she just fell asleep.
So keeping watch on Lissy.
Pretty much.
It's that whole weird bed thing that you guys did the other day. Where the bed's too big for Lissy. Because suddenly Lissy's sleeping in her bed.
The joke we made.
Yeah. All right. If that's the case, Ferris, who do you chat with to pass the time on the watch?
The first half of the watch is just Ferris like nervously looking at Arthur and then back to basically his watching post. And then eventually he kind of gets up the courage and he just asks, so why'd you do it?
And Arthur looks, why did I do what?
You know, be a hero.
That's a difficult one to answer. Because the world needed it.
Well, yeah, but like you were so good at it, and obviously you found a way to steel yourself against corruption. Like it's almost like you were born to do it.
What abilities I was born with is a fluke of nature. I wouldn't have done it without everyone else I was with, without... There were so many of us that aided that victory. Yes, I was able to see through, and I had that natural ability not to be affected, but without Zexel's resolve fighting by my side, or Ilya's insight into the nature of the magic, we wouldn't have gotten anywhere close. Yes, I was a hero, but we all were. And he looks... Well, at least were. Some still are. And he goes just thinking about it, and you can tell that he's got that look of bringing up his old friends has made him a little bit more introspective.
I'm sorry, Arthur. I didn't really want to bring up the past too much. It's just Ferris kind of does that like nervous like finger poking thing. You were my hero growing up. I wanted to be like you.
Well, and here you are on the forefront, making the tough choices. You have such a more difficult task than the one that I was faced with. There were a few political issues, but for the most part, everybody came together to fight this insurmountable threat. They were big enough and we had enough time that we could put together the definite case that we all needed to come together. This race against time is something else entirely. I remember some of the times I did go to those meetings, and I got so frustrated that when people refused to see the imminent danger, and I'm glad I had others with me that could pull me back and make sure that we did things the right way, made sure that we brought people on board in a way that they wouldn't undermine our coalition.
It's really, really good to hear that you went through some of those same issues. When they brought you back, I wasn't. I mean, you're not what I imagined, but I'm glad that we can have you to look to. You've lived it.
And he gives you that troubled look again as he kind of hops up and puts both arms on the rail. I'm glad you see me as useful, but I'm coming to terms with... Well, you say I was your hero, and I have those memories, and I have those abilities, but I am a different being than the one that was your hero, and I'm coming to terms with that. And I'm glad I have a chance to help do the thing that I'm so good at, but the realization that I am Arthur, but am I exactly Arthur Dullahan?
If there's one thing I've learned, it's that memories, they may not define us, but they are a very large segment of, no matter who you are going forward, that will always be a part of you.
Thank you.
And I'll do my best to maybe get Lisi and Malkesh to maybe put you in a more fitting form.
Well, I have been thinking about that. Even in this form, the frog folk were a strong and underestimated people. Maybe a bit frustrating when we tried to bring their kingdom into the conflict, but I'm not ashamed of this body. But I'm not sure it has all the advantages it could have. If, as I said, I'm not entirely the same, and maybe this is the ability to adopt some more modern methods, so I'm not just swinging a sword in the antiquated way of fighting the demonic scourge. Maybe I need to speak with Lisi and Malkesh about that.
Ferris kind of lights up. I could maybe teach you something about fighting with smaller weapons.
That might be appropriate. Though. Yes. Maybe I don't have to get them to turn this whole body into a weapon yet. And I'll say we go back to the watch. So the next night, similarly, who is piloting and who is... So pretty much everybody here are going to be rotating. So who is taking the next night's watch?
Guess Gunhill will volunteer. Hopefully nothing goes crazy with Alyssia.
All right, and who's piloting? I mean, we don't have to have... You can do 2 nights in a row if you want, if you kind of say you slept during the day.
I think it's fine.
I mean, if nobody else will volunteer, Ferris will try and pilot, but otherwise he'll go take a sleep so somebody else can take a turn in the spotlight.
Go on, fairies.
Hanhao, Lisi, are you up tonight, or are you mostly doing day watches?
I would say doing day watch.
All right. Well,
Probably for the safety of everyone.
I'm gonna say Ochre is. He's also kind of been doing the sleeping during the day, so he is also on watch. Gunhild, who do you talk to pass the time?
So many choices. Say she's gonna check in with Ochre, because nobody's checked in on Ochre in a while.
All right. How do you kick up a conversation with Ochre?
She, as he's piloting, she kind of just kind of walks up behind him, like opens her mouth as she's about to say something. Thinks about it for a second. Ochre? Yeah, Ochre.
Hey! And he turns around and he smiles. You got it right!
Yeah. Been practicing.
It's kind of I mean, all things considered, it's a translation of a different language, which is a translation of an older language, so I can see why you have a little bit of a hard time with it. What's up, Gunhild?
I'm just really impressed with the way you're able to fly the ship and just the knowledge that it requires. It's really amazing seeing what everybody on this ship can do, you know?
It's certainly a bit of technology that everybody brought together. I'm glad I have a chance to try my best at it. I mean, even what I'm used to is more kind of weaponry. That's really where my training was from. But I'm surprised you guys took me along. I mean, I thought going into this dangerous, you'd probably bring somebody who'd be a little bit better in a fight.
I think we're covered for the fighting aspects of things.
I mean,
I've seen you hold your own.
I'm glad, but I'm nothing compared to you. I mean, you get in there and you've only gotten stronger and more skilled since I met you. I mean, it's like, I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, remember when we first met and we were fighting it was in a canyon, I think, and there was some raging wildlife, and I mean, you did good, but like, I mean, you were pretty much just jumping on and swinging the hammer wildly. Oh no, now I'm trying to compliment you, and I'm bringing up when you didn't know what you were fighting. That's not fair.
She just gives him a pat on the back. It's okay. Don't worry so much. I think we're all a little confused. Maybe then, and even now. But
The only advantage I had there is it's where I grew up. I knew everything about those lands. I was the one who stayed behind while my sister got to travel the world in preparation for maybe ascending to be the Orc Lord. It's amazing that I'm out here now. I didn't think I'd see farther beyond the borders, let alone into the open sky.
I kind of understand that feeling. Even where I grew up, I didn't really think I'd go that far away from it, and I mean, most of the entertainment and everything else just kind of came to us. And if you had told me a few years ago that I'd be traveling on this sort of ship just flying through the sky, I wouldn't have believed you.
Yeah. You ever worry that you won't be able to go back? And when this is over?
Kind of looks out over the railing for a moment and just... More than I'd like to admit.
I'm not sure I want to. I'm not sure that's where my life is anymore.
Yeah. I think I know what you mean. I mean, you certainly seem great with, traveling and even just the piloting right now. It's open skies, but I think keeping something like this, stable and level just so that even just we can sleep and get some rest is stunning.
Thank you. I mean, hasn't been easy in the past while. I mean, I'm glad I had a chance to train up there. And well, geez, when we were flying and that bird thing grabbed me, my heart stopped. I'd helped you guys from the back lines before, but that was the first time something was so dependent on me.
It's scary when that sort of thing happens. I mean, for a lot of reasons, but it's easy to lose track of what you need to do when you feel like everyone's depending on you.
Yeah, it's really, really easy to lose track of what you have to... Oh shit! Ferris, watch out! And Ferris, you see that the ship is not headed right towards it, but you see something new. A big island or not big, you can actually see where it starts to curve back around. But that island is just littered with mountains of bones.
Big bones?
Big bones.
Dragon bones?
That's what it looks like.
Oh, also I should probably crank the wheel to not run into the giant mountain bone island.
That would be good.
Background check, Dex.
Sure. Oh yeah, you're easy. This is for all your bravado that you knew in your heart of hearts you would be good at this. You were right. You're pretty good at this. But both Ochre and Gunhild get a very close-up look at ribs and fine wing bones and skulls of different sizes. Dragons are a varied race, and even just looking at these bones, you can tell that.
Ambois, is this where we need to be?
I think we're here. And as you go through the canals, you realize this might be bigger than you thought. Because you see another of those islands, and another, and another, and another. And it just stretches out this maze of almost bone-lined hallways to the open skies where the just dotted with these islands containing the remains of dragons. Yes, I do believe this is it, Ambois speaks.
How do we know which one's the right one?
Let's think about that in the morning. For now, maybe we should anchor up and I'll get some rest before we go further in.
Yeah, sure. Just go to sleep with the giant skeleton graveyard underneath that. Yeah, that'll be fine.
Look, Oh, wait. Oh, no. Well, I didn't consider that.
Consider what?
I'm not sure you remembered talking about this when we... But dragons are less creatures of flesh and bone and more of magic itself. It's not exactly the same life cycle of other creatures. It's why my willingly giving the Lich King a hold over me makes my situation unique. It's... The dangers here are not being haunted by ghosts or zombies, but more the lingering remnants of that raging energy as it searches for a new place, a new dragon to take hold in.
Gunhild, you gonna be okay?
Suddenly everyone looks at Gunhild.
Well, I feel okay. I mean, what about Ambois?
I can feel it. I can feel those wisps and wind and those wisps, those winds, the energy. I feel it questioning why I'm here. And I think if I focused, I could find my way to where I'm supposed to be. But I'm not sure they will be entirely happy about that.
I guess our situations are a little different. I mean, you are, and I'm not, so to speak.
I'm gonna go wake up everybody below deck.
Could you?
Yeah, I think this is Arta speak. I think this is time for a strategy meeting. And Hun Hao, Lisi, Malkesh should be brought all back up.
Clock wipe to everybody on deck.
Hunhouse standing there rubbing his eyes, still wrapped up in a blanket.
Yeah, you would once again kind of just come above deck and just see these constant islands. And honestly, it's not like it's hundreds of dragons on each island. It's just that some dragons were so big and the bones so large that they take up quite a bit of space. But this place is gray, jagged rock and white sun-bleached bone. That's
I
the
imagine
palette.
Malkesh is just like vibrating right now.
Well, Hunhow would walk up, still wrapped in his blanket, kind of bleary-eyed, and look over the edge of the ship at just this array of bone and rock, and just eyes go wide like he shot of espresso straight to the brain, and just, wow.
We made it. Also, I guess dragons don't really like die like we do. So they're kind of all around us, and not like in like the kind of hokey, they'll live on in our memory sort of thing. It's just like we have a lot of angry dragon memories pulling at our friend here. He kind of gestures towards Amboa.
Is there anything we can do to unangry them?
Well, I see two potential thoughts here, and we very much have two goals in this area. One would be finding, what's left of me and being able to restore me to a form that would be more helpful to our mission. The other would be to find, the dying Terrano, because at this point, he likely has a bit of an entourage, and if he's being visited by who I think is visiting him, who I feel can visit him, we may have an ally in someone who can suppress the spirits as we search. Arthur looks over. There sounds like there's a butt there. And Amboa, doing it in the first order means we kind of were able to restore me without having to ask permission. And doing it the second might be easier, but we might end up with some conditions for the assistance. Gunhild, you would also remember from what your father told you, if your mother is going to be someplace, she would likely be with the dying dragon Terrano at this point.
Yeah, it's kind of a big reason why she wanted to go here. I mean, if these things can affect us, what's I guess I'll just say, what's the worst that could happen?
Well, imagine a very powerful collection of elemental force that very, very much doesn't want you desecrating a holy place.
So we'd all be dead, which is what most people have had out for us so far. But if we don't press on, we might as well just hand this whole world over to the demons.
I might be able to keep some of the spirits at bay using the ship's ritual engine, but I mean, I'm no dragon.
I mean, Ambo, I'm not exactly feeling anything at the moment, but I mean, our situations are rather different here. If anyone's qualified to tell us about any of this, it's you.
I feel bringing me here was in part more than I could ask any of you in the first place. There's a bit of pride and vanity washed up in this, and if I'm being honest, if I'm going to restore myself, I'd like to be able to restore myself in the image and in the way that I would like to. And I'm not sure, considering the strain I've placed on the draconic life cycle, that they'll let us do that very easily. But I feel I could find our way to Tyranno just as easy as I could find... Well, easy is an overstatement, but I could find our way there as well. And there might be people there willing to help us. And there are people there we need to get to help us in the longer run. But I worry about trading one master for another in that case.
I suppose I don't see a whole lot of other options here.
Maybe it doesn't have to be that way. Well, maybe we'll find something else to give up in exchange for their help.
Alright, just to kind of abstract it a bit. In general, the thing that you are discussing is, do you go straight for Amboise' body, or do you go for Tyranno? Or do you do something completely different, because that's always an option.
Quick, let's go back to the elves.
Skeletons are spooky!
Yeah, let's go hang out with some elf nerds.
There's a skeleton
So if
inside
I
all of us.
remember the risks properly.
Me,
It's,
okay.
if we go straight to Amboise' body, we kind of piss off all the dragonic spirits, plus more than likely lose the help of Gunhild's mother and Tyranno.
Not necessarily lose the help of, but...
Sour their relationship with.
Yeah, it might make it more complex, because we're basically just bypassing these obvious things to go to Amboise's body.
I say we go ahead and see Gunhild's mother and Tyranno.
I mean, yeah, we should probably go through the popper channels for this weird foreign territory here.
Yeah.
All right. Lisi, do you have any input on that?
No, I'm good. I'm good. Funerals usually have alcohol, so
Do they?
I don't-
sometimes,
Maybe?
unless they're all sober.
I mean, Akbi funerals, probably.
Lisi just praying for a wake.
Desperately praying for a wake. Not to be, insensitive or anything. Sorry.
Yeah, so with that decision, you go through, and as you go deeper in, those of you magically or dragonically attuned will kind of feel that energy surrounding you. And you'll feel that despite there are many paths through these twisting islands, there's clearly one that it wants you to take. Would anybody like to describe any of the dragonic skeletons they see, or any of how they feel about these kind of this raw magical elemental energy that seems somewhat intelligent?
I think a lot like with Ferris's gauntlet when it was attuned more to the demonic magic than dragonic magic. It's kind of feeling hot. Like it seems to be resonating. The platinum blood that's powering his memory core is basically going wild around all this energy. And it feels like if there were ancestor to the platinum worm, Ferris feels like he's getting drawn more in that direction, but he knows that's not necessarily where he needs to go.
We'll just go in order from Ferris onwards. Lisi, what do you see or feel?
Everything's a little too sharp. I guess, I mean, since she's not really sort of, she's used to the Lich, I suppose, so the oppressive nature of the islands themselves are kind of something that she genuinely accepts. So I think, yeah, it's more she's irritable and probably just maybe keeping to herself a little bit. It's more to do with her condition than any sort of sense of oppressiveness.
Fair. Hunhao, this place, it's natural, but it's no type of nature you're used to. What do you see or feel?
Honestly, Hunhao would just be kind of uncomfortable about the whole thing, which is a bit of an understatement, but wood elves, when they die, they would be returned to nature. This is kind of almost a departure from that. These rocky crags, these dragons taking them outside of the world for this one place to die. They're not returning to the world. They're separating themselves from it as they die. And it's just that and the eerie, uncomfortable sense of them being around all the time, that sort of oppressive weight of their death. It's just, Hunhao is not comfortable at all.
Gunhild.
So I guess for Gunhill, it's more as they further progress in. It's it's this feel. What's the best way to describe it? it's almost like, let's say, like beer muscles. Like, it's more along the lines of like she feels like she has this. There's like this power encroaching on her that she can't quite put her finger on. As though she could, like, she gets the feeling that if she really wanted to, she could just jump off the edge of the ship and just start flying around, but then kind of just like catch herself in the moment of like, no, I can't really do that. But it's almost a sense of like whatever parts of her that are draconic are trying to take over like the more human elements of her personality. So she feels like this sort of like weird sort of strength that she kind of has to keep in check, because she is continually realizing that it's something like taking this effect on her that's not actually her.
Interesting. As you pull through, who's helming the ship right now? Who's at the helm?
Oh yeah. I can pilot the ship.
Alright, Lisi is piloting the ship. You cross and you go through one of those channels through what's just like, this is actually like between two islands. There's almost an just arcing rib cages above, and you see near the center an island that has what looks almost like a beach, a docking area on it, and maybe even some structures built on the island. And you see one or two small ships, but you also see one large ship that, Hunhao, even you would recognize it, because this is an allied kingdom ship similar to the one that you came to the continent on. And there's a spot for you to dock in there. And there's, even as you get close, somebody, some soldiers on the ship would look up and kind of, some of them would go for weapons, and then one captain would raise an arm, and then they'd all go back, continuing to watch you, but not to attack. Anybody with kind of keen hearing would hear the captain say pretty much, "This is not a place for fighting." What do you do?
Well,
I'm gonna go ahead and start a fight. I'm just gonna punch the guy right in the mouth.
What?
No, I'm kidding.
We just land the ship on all of them? Well, we're here!
The Allied Kingdom ship there is as big a ship as you could get through this area.
If there were two ships, we'd try and squeeze our ship into the parking space between them.
Alright, someone's gonna have to get out and like guide the ship in.
Yeah,
Right.
make sure that you guys don't open your doors too wide, okay?
Just fold in the side mirrors.
Yeah, pulled in the side mirrors. We're gonna have to escape through the sunroof.
Yeah.
We've got our insurance renewed, so...
Dex roll for parallel parking, please.
Beep!
Do you dock?
Yeah.
You dock. And you can see as you get there that there's a few buildings that have burning, like, kind of either lanterns or torches burning in them, as well as a stone path that kind of leads through this winding, bone-lined rockway.
Is there any alcohol yet?
Lisi, you suspect where there's sailors, there's alcohol.
Excellent. Because
Can we
otherwise,
put the
this
bird
is
on a
going
leash?
to be are we there yet? Sort of question.
Can we put Lisi on a leash until we get her some alcohol so she doesn't go cause carnage in her search for alcohol?
Just frantic sniffing. Oh wait, no, that's Orlando.
Nice.
Gunhild Hunhow, you'll actually notice something now that you're actually on one of the islands. There's something else amongst the bones.
Is it sadness?
It's
Is it
possible.
a skeleton inside the skeleton?
It's what, Dan?
I said, it's well, you can't identify it if it's the abstract concept of sadness.
Depression hangs heavy in the air.
I'm gonna roll against your MD, and if not,
The
you
air.
take you take 35 ennui damage.
Does that go to my sanity?
The air is literally depressing.
No, as you are able to get closer, and you can see some of the bones are enraged. No, not yet. You picked the option that didn't make that happen.
Oh god, we've got angry boners.
Oh no.
They're making internet comments as we speak.
You see that some of the bones are enraged. I said it a second time in a row.
I'm so proud of you, Dan.
I do this all the time. I talk into a microphone. Let's see if third time's the charm. The bones are arranged in a way along kind of the cliff face to seemingly hold something in place.
Oh, that's not good. That's exactly what Hunhow would say in character.
Do you investigate?
Is Lisi well watched?
Oh, don't worry about that.
No, I am
Paris is
worrying about
trying to
that.
strap
no,
her into a
honestly.
baby Bjorn.
Putting her in the baby Bjorn again?
As soon as he turns away, she like gets into trouble.
Just
No,
like a
you're-
cartoonish smoke outline of where Lissy was.
All right, with Lissy mostly in order, do you investigate Hunhow?
Yes. I will investigate to see what is the significance of the arrangement of bones.
Yeah, you approach and you realize, why this would be so hard to see from a distance, considering the white and gray stone palette. But you realize as you get close, what would have looked held in by the, in arrangements of ancient bones aren't any sort of jagged rock, but actually large, oval-shaped eggs.
Oh.
Hunhow, what is it? I don't know
Well,
why my voice did that just now. What do you see out there? Can
My-
we split up and go in separate directions?
no, my elf eyes see eggs. It seems as if...
You'd think regular eyes could see that they're eggs too.
You'd think. But elf eyes are special.
I just love those eggs. They're like mongoose eyes.
Explains why Hunhow's a father.
I'm attuned to see fertility.
Oh, Christ. I was gonna make an erection joke, but no, that's better. That's way better.
We wasted all those last session.
Oh, Lord have mercy. But no, Hunhow would sort of return to the party and just explain, what he saw that these are arranged almost to protect eggs.
Do dragons normally keep their eggs? Oh wait, of
Amboise?
course.
This is both where we try to go, but in a way it's returning.
Is this how dragons try to, I guess, resurrect themselves?
In a way, I would say. As I said, our life cycle is strange and a fairly well-guarded secret.
Are these eggs placed here willingly?
Yes.
That's good,
There's-
at least.
Can you imagine trying to capture eggs from angry dragons in order to deliver them to a place full of bones?
Well, do the dragons bring them here?
Actually, I kind of can right now. It's weird.
Yeah, I mean, what type of reward would you get for that? Like, hopefully a good
voucher
meal.
for a free meal. Maybe some potions.
Seems like a lot of work for not a lot of reward.
I had this weird flash of just like dropping random rocks and pathways. I mean, if it were Maya, oh, sorry. I don't know what I'm thinking.
I feel like a game reference just went over my head. I actually felt the wind of it as it
Yeah.
sailed over.
All right. You are at the base of this winding pathway. You have just seen the eggs. You are talking to Amboise. What next?
What was that? Sorry.
So we're here. Has anybody come to greet us?
Everybody seems to be keeping to themselves.
Ooh.
You'll be acknowledged if you wave, but nobody seems to be either hassling you or kind of actively engaging you. It
Do we
almost
want
seems.
to change that?
Do you get the
Guys?
feel? Do you get the feeling that you're getting that kind of the way the guards are carrying themselves, which, or at least those who are armed, which they've noticed you, but they have that air that they're fairly confident any trouble you cause could be taken care of.
And the guards look very much like they're from the Allied Kingdoms.
Some do. Some look like just regular people. There's a couple of Dragonic as well. You notice that none of the Dragonic though have none have red scales. Some have little patches of red, but there's no full red Dragonic. And Gunhild, could you roll me a wisdom check?
Yes. I'm not sure based on what background.
This would just be your knowledge of Dragonic people.
Yeah, that can work. Okay, let's see. Said wisdom, right?
This is actually a very sudden and startling realization for you that you've seen Dragonic with these red patches of scales before, but you've realized that you have never met anyone who has a full set of red scales.
Hmm. Processing.
Ferris will sidle up to one of the, I guess, least harmful looking guards or assorted persons and say, Hail, this is our first time in these parts. Is the armed reception pretty common these days?
It's looks up and down. Why are you here? What respects do you have to pay?
Still knocked the... Is he silver? Still knocked the silver?
Yes.
Still knocked the silver.
Ah. Here to carry out the last wishes of a dead dragon. That's an honorable reason to be here. As long as you stay your weapons, you will be welcome.
Do you get people who are here for less than honorable reasons?
Though, expect it coming from someone who's followed such a disciple of peace like Stillnoct. No, it's not dishonorable reasons. They have their own honor in it, but Tyranno only granted power and only raised the strong. And some of the strong feel like they have more rights to being here than others. And as thus we gather to make sure things go as they should.
Gunhill just kind of like swaggers up next to Ferris, just adds, how long has this been going on anyways?
5 years.
Yeah, taps her chin for a moment. It's almost around the time. Out of curiosity, she points at her own horns. Anyone who looks a little bit like, well, me?
He looks... I'm not sure I've seen anyone that is, and this is a Dragonic, let's say.
That was the assumption, yeah.
Yeah, and he's got red amongst black scales. No, I'm not sure I've seen anyone who looks quite like you, but I can feel your I can feel your of two essence, like many of us here.
Two. How many... I mean, are there any of just one essence?
A few. There's the young one. The new blue.
The new...
And of course there is the one that has claimed to watch over us all. They are of one essence. Interesting.
Are most of you here gathered for Tyranno?
Almost all of us. We've either been granted some small part of his power, and wish to pay respects to the powerful one that graced us with our abilities. Or we are here to gather what we can get when the last red dragon finally lets himself perish.
And you know about those who are doing the ritual itself?
5 years is a long time for anyone to be dying. This has, as I said, attracted the attention of the one that watches over us all.
Do you mean the Dragon Mistress?
It is a very continental name for her.
Is she here?
I fear at this point, if she wasn't, we would have been overrun.
Overrun by what or who?
As I said, there are many bands that believe it's their birthright to claim the power Tyranno entrusted them with.
Ferris kind of pauses and then takes out a small little piece of parchment paper and kind of tries to scrawl out the banner. And I forgot their name already. The slavers that we killed. What was their name?
They were
Fire something.
they were just Flamewing.
Flamewing. And he'll kind of show the Dragonborn that are these people.
Ah, you've crossed blades with our biggest worry in this situation. Perhaps you need to meet with somebody who knows more than I do.
Could you point us in that direction?
And he points up the winding stone path.
Ferris nods. Well, thank you. Sorry for your loss. I guess I'm not sure how that's supposed to go.
It's complicated. And he goes back to his business, and he turns. Yes. I have been running a small store to make sure the pilgrims here and those would be supplied with what they need. If you need anything, come find me.
Gunhill just communicates sort of thank you in the Dragonic.
And he nods. And you have a little bit more information. What do you do?
So, kind of looks at Ferris and just... There's really something about this place. It just sorry, it feels different, strange and familiar at the same time. Have you noticed that? I mean, you've seen Draconic, of course, but have you noticed that all of them have these? I mean, there's various colors, but none of them are completely red. I don't quite know what that means yet.
Well, you're more blue, than you were of a blue dragon. Maybe Dragonic are imbued with whatever. I guess dragon. I guess we don't know if they sired them, but let them made.
Well, yeah, I mean, typically, sometimes there's more than one, as they mentioned. There's more than one essence at times. But you usually
So
see, blue or black or silver, however it goes, and I don't know, I never thought about it until now.
I guess Florentine didn't even have red. But I guess that guy was black. Does that mean he was... Ferris kind of whispers, Omgrats?
I guess it's possible, but I mean, I don't think that the essence necessarily makes the Dragonic, as it were. But it is strange. I thought I was just blue, too. Or maybe it means something else.
Maybe he means the essence of Arthur that lives within you. That heroic spirit.
I shouldn't think too hard about it. And probably just ask. There's got to be someone who knows a little bit more.
Well, maybe you said your mom might be here. Maybe she does.
Yeah.
And it seems like she might be up at the top of that path. If you want to, I mean, I can understand if you want to wait, but if you wanted to, we could.
I still think I need a little more time. We just got here, and Ferris, it's the reason I left home to begin with, and now that we're here, I don't know what to do exactly.
Well, it doesn't sound like she's going to be going anywhere anytime soon, but you need a drink to pick up your courage or anything. I mean, I understand.
Lisi, you hear the word drink.
Yes, I do.
He's like in the middle saying, I just need to figure out my approach, and then Lisi just like collides into her.
Did somebody mention a drink?
It's all the more impressive that she collides into Gunhill because she's still in the baby Bjorn attached to Hunhow.
She just has that much force.
Yep.
The gravitation.
That's how strong the urge is.
Now, if that's the case, maybe as our heroes get some food and drink after a long journey, think about how they'll approach it. That's where we'll leave it for today.
That allows me to actually gather my thoughts.
Unless you want to just go at it, I'm fine with that too.
I need to
I'd
get real
like
food.
now
Yeah,
to
I think
be
we're all
watching.
right.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for watching.
Oops.
This has been Voices in the Wilderness. And we are now in Epic tier. We're kind of plodding along to the end of this campaign. If you're interested in something a little bit more close to the start actually tomorrow night, you should be able to join this channel for Adderjäger.
We're actually on a break for Adderjäger.
Or you can join that in 3 weeks and a day for Adderjäger.
Yeah. Good night, everybody.
All right.
Bye.
Good night.
Have a good night.